con sabor, con sabrosura. Dale, Pututi.
Well, we are so excited to have our next guest on the show. She is literally a real-life superhero. You could see her in Fortress and Fortress Sniper's Eye. She's an actress, film star, and stunt woman, and fitness superstar. Give it up for the one and only Kelly Grayson, joining the couch.
Yes.
Now, Kelly, I mean, you really inspire me in so many ways. She's here on a layover between flights.
Yep.
Now, you play
so
mysterious double agent Kate in Fortress and Fortress Sniper's Eye. And with Bruce Willis, Chad Michael Murray, and Jesse Metcalfe. Tell us about that.
Such a beautiful experience. It really was. And I mean, I think working with so many incredibly talented actors is always the kind of next levels your game, you know? And stunts and action is like my favorite genre because like in real life, fitness is like a super important part of my life. And, you know, being like fit and healthy and everything from how you eat to mental health and like those little things, right? It all makes a difference. And so when you live like competition ready all the time, it's fun to be able to bring that to a film, you know? And so, and I end up getting jobs that I didn't anticipate because I have to be ready like all the time, you know? So it's not like, oh, I've got 3 weeks, I'm gonna shred for this competition. I just kind of like live shredded. And so when I'm able to bring that into a film and then bring like the athleticism, which is something I love, then it just like next levels the whole process for me. So yeah, it's really a gift.
And you get to do something in the film that I've always wanted to do, and that's kiss Jesse Metcalfe. So, I mean, it's such a star-studded cast. Is it nerve-wracking to be on a set? I mean, you're a total pro, but what is it like, you know, working with such big people? Bruce Willis, I mean, what an honor.
Yeah, no, I mean, it really is. And not to downplay that at all. I'm definitely one that I'm just like, I love people, right? And to me, what makes you a significant person is like how you love others and how you change the world and, you know, those kinds of things. So that, I think, is a really grounding thing when you're around just like big names and whatever, because I'm like, well, who are you really, you know? And so it was really neat to get to know some of those people. Chad, such a great family man, like so dedicated. Yeah, yes. Bruce was so just personable and genuine and so great. And Jesse, yeah, he's a whole, he's a whole thing.
He's a whole
yeah, he's like a party all the time. And yeah, just such great people to work with. And yeah, maybe you'll get your opportunity.
You know what, dream big.
I'll put in a word for you.
If you pass the water fountain, throw a nickel in there for my wish.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And you know, honestly, another thing was all the women cast in that film was really, really great. I think it's really amazing to be around powerful women who are builders, right? And I think it's a rare thing because especially this industry is very cutthroat and it's hard a lot of times. And confident people are builders, right? And when somebody genuinely compliments me, I'm like, that's someone who's going to be a friend, right? Because they're confident enough to like reach beyond themselves and like care about somebody else, right? And it's what I want to bring to the table. And so that was beautiful to be able to work with a bunch of the girls on this project. They were just great, like great to work with, super just qualified and beautiful and confident and builders, you know? And then Sedarius, he's so great. Sedarius Blaine, he was like the bad guy, but he's like this just powerful person, but such a beautiful heart. And so anyway, it was just great, like all around, and all crew, cast, crew, everybody, and Puerto Rico, I love. So yeah, everything about it was like, yeah.
What type of stunt work do you do? I mean, I'm sure there's levels to it, right?
All of it. Whatever you throw at me.
Falling from the sky, you know, like.
I'll do it all, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the most extreme stunt you've done?
I mean, I've never not done something that someone asked me to do, so.
And do you ever flinch? When did you ever hear something, you're like, do you ever think of it in your head, like, can I do this?
I mean, I think like, oh, I got this, actually.
Yeah, but fire, like if fire comes into the picture,
I mean,
like,
I definitely will be like, all right, tell me, like, what's actually going on? You know, what are their safety mechanisms? What's in place? You know, like those kinds of things. There was one film that I was like under a guillotine, which was super freaky.
What?
No.
Yeah, it was really freaky.
Or a fake one?
Well, it was real in some shots, and then they would trade it out. And so, like, that kind of stuff definitely does, because you're like...
An accident is, like, lethal.
Exactly. And so, right before I would go on camera, every time I'd be like, I'm walking over there, I, like, have to touch it again. Like, I want to touch it again. So, those kind of things, you know, and on sets, you know, all the people who handle the guns, they're so good at, like, making sure, it's, you know, and they'll let you ask a bunch of times. I'm like, let me just check again. I want to check again, you know, because those kind of things, I mean, it's real, you know. And then you'll have knives, because I've done swords and daggers and that kind of thing. And for one shot, they need the real ones, so you have to fake it, right? and then for the other shots, they're all pretend. So like just being conscious of making sure everything's changed out in between, because like it's
No
real.
mistakes.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm sure in some ways it kind of like has to be very intricate choreography almost, because
It
if you
does.
move one step off, that could be your head.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it too for me, is I really care about other people. So, you know, I think the stunt teams are kind of unsung heroes, right? Because when you're working with stunts, like they're really protecting you at the same time as making it look really authentic. So I love working with like stunt guys fighting or girls, because when you're fighting them, it's a lot safer. You're actually able to be like, okay, I think I'm gonna be okay. But the flip side of that is, you know, I want to be super on point, because you have a spot and you have to hit that exact place, and in the heat of the moment, like you're in these crazy fights, you're
acting.
Yeah, exactly.
And playing a
so,
role too, yeah.
Right. So having the intent of you know, actual aggression while intentionally trying to not hurt somebody is like this really kind of counterintuitive place that you're in, and it's challenging. But I mean, I think it brings another level of adrenaline, which I just sort of use for the role, right? Because I'm like so conscious of like, oh my gosh, I have to do this so perfectly and look so intense.
I love it. Well, don't go anywhere, because we have another block. We're going to get into Kelly's humanitarian work next. Don't go anywhere. You are watching The Zoo. Welcome back to The Zoo, you guys. Come on. We are so excited to be here with fitness star, actress, and humanitarian Kelly Grayson. Now, Kelly, I just feel like you are always traveling. You're always traveling the world, helping people. I mean, tell everybody when you're not on camera doing stunts and being held under a guillotine what you're doing.
So actually, speaking of traveling all the time, I literally flew all night. I think I've been traveling for 2 days, but
Yeah,
got
you're here on a layover.
Literally here on a layover, and I'm so grateful that you guys had me in.
Oh my God.
So yeah, this is what flew all night looks like.
Looks pretty
Because
good.
I was like, okay, change in the bathroom or, you know, whatever. But, so I actually just came from Vanuatu, which is like, everyone's like, what? And such an amazingly beautiful country. And it's really a gift to be able to be involved in like humanitarian work, right? Because it's one of those things that is personally very life-giving, but then it also changes other people's lives as well, and then provides the most amazing travel opportunities ever. So it's something I really love. And this one was a long time in coming. I actually was in Fiji right as like the whole world was shutting down, and took one of the last flights out, and ended up meeting this individual who is a former trade commissioner, and was like, can you please bring people to talk about Vanuatu? It's so beautiful, and like help our economy and build, you know, all of that. So ended up, that was such a long story. I mean, it's so interesting, so I wish I could tell it, but, but it's so complex. I mean, that was like, so that was Fiji, and I ended up so someone had asked me to bring together a production team and just some other models and underwater stuff. So I do all of this underwater stuff, which is kind of a niche market, right? Because it's super challenging to model underwater, because you feel like you're drowning and have to try to look graceful and elegant while feeling like you're dying. Yeah, so it's a whole other thing.
I can barely swim,
yeah.
so
Along those lines, so I had been asked to do this. Whatever, the guy who was in charge ended up having some issues, and so he's like, you have to take over, and I'm like, take over? Okay, where am I going? What are we doing? Anyway, so long story short, I ended up meeting this other guy who wanted me to come back to Vanuatu. So I was on the first flight back in the country when it opened up the other day. And yeah, it was such an incredible experience, just beautiful people, and just to be able to kind of team up with people and help. Okay, what do you need to build? Where are we at? What's going on? You know, what are the needs here, and that kind of thing. And then to see lives changed is always really a gift. But Vanuatu is an amazing country for anyone who's interested in the
Where is it?
most amazing destination. It's kind of between Australia and Fiji, down in the South Pacific. Yeah.
And you're on a layover right now. Where are you going after this?
I'm actually flying all night. Flew all night last night, flying all night tonight to Miami, and then going to the Caribbean. So.
Oh,
Can we give her some energy?
Some
energy.
And Kelly really does enrich people's lives. You really are like a real-life superhero, truthfully. And you have a video series that's going to be launching called My Impact. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I think, especially in today's world, when there's so much emphasis put on things that honestly don't matter, right? You know, like, what is it that really matters, and what is it that changes lives? And how are you changing somebody's life, I think is super important. So trying to build that significance and spread that message with people and give a platform where people can talk about, this is how this changed my life, here's how this person inspired me, is something that it's been really close to my heart for a long time, because I think everyone underestimates the significance, not everyone, but lots of people, and especially in the social media world, of things that, oh, this matters, this matters, this matters. Well, what actually matters is the heart. Like, who are you on the inside? How are you changing the world? What are you doing? And what is unique to you? Because every single person is created with individual gifts, right? And they're for a reason, and they matter. And, you know, everyone can inspire someone another way, right? And fitting the mold is not the deal ever. What you do is figure out what you're good at and how you can change the world with what you have. And so I think inspiring people to think about, like, what is my impact? How am I changing the world? Because your impact on the planet is as unique as your fingerprint. Like, only you can touch the world like you can, just like only your fingerprint looks like it does. And I think, so from that place, I've been able to travel a lot, and I like to highlight heroes and tell their stories. So find people, especially Indigenous organizations, who are changing lives invisibly. You know, like, real heroes do the right thing when no one's watching. They, you know, love when it hurts, like those kinds of things. And so to be around those people is super life-giving. And then as you're changing other people's lives, it definitely changes your own, right? Because it's physiologically proven to change you while you change somebody else. And so I think it's healing in both ways and purpose, like life-giving for people. So anyway, that's what I'm working on. I finally have a nonprofit set up, and it's been a journey, but hopefully launching really soon.
Yeah. And, you know, through helping so many people, what have you learned about yourself?
I mean, I think everyone is capable of a million times more than they ever believed, right? And I can do hard things. I've done all the hard things, I think.
Girl.
So, I don't know, I think I was painfully, like, debilitatingly shy growing up, like so fearful, and I decided when I was really young, like, I was like, I'm gonna do everything I'm afraid of. And so it's been sort of a life journey for me, like, I'm scared of it, oh, it's happening. The one thing I knew was gonna happen someday, and I was just not pushing it, but I did Africa for 6 weeks last summer, which was ridiculous, and connected with the most amazing people who are just changing the world in just these beautiful ways, but invisibly, right? And then you look at them and you're like, oh my goodness, like the impact that they create. Anyway, the point is, Africa, I finally did the skydiving thing and bungee jumping. I was not looking forward to that one, but as far as things I'm afraid of, heights are a little bit like, eh. So I finally did the skydive thing.
You were afraid to skydive.
Yeah,
but you get under a gear.
Right? I know.
It's the height
Like,
aspect of it.
Travel, yeah, and travel the world, like, by myself. I've been in so many countries, like Iraq and, you know, all kinds of crazy places, in Papua New Guinea, like in the furthest place where they haven't ever seen. So the little kids, they were so cute, they would grab my hair and like put it on either side of them, because they were so fascinated with long hair, because they'd never seen it, you know. And so those kind of things where you're